Hello, and welcome to Skype Operations Framework Academy session on the Skype for Business Meeting Room Solutions. Before we get into the content, I want to spend a moment to introduce myself. My name is Turgay Öngün. I'm a senior customer engineering architect in the Skype Customer Experience and Deployment team, and I'm one of the authors of the Skype Operations Framework. Our team is part of the larger Skype for Business product group and is responsible for developing content for Skype Operations Framework, as well as applying the SOF methodology to our customers. Without too much detail, just a very short summary about SOF. Through SOF, we are providing practical guidance, practices, and tools for our customers and partners to plan, deliver, and successfully operate Skype for Business online deployments. If you're not familiar with the previous releases of SOF, I strongly encourage you to visit SOF website at skypeoperationsframework.com and review the previous recordings on the Skype Academy. We always love to hear feedbacks, and feedbacks are very critical for the success of SOF. So please let us know about SOF, what is working well and what needs improvement, or any other content that you'd like to see covered in the future releases of SOF. We also launched the new SOF community a couple of months ago. Through that community, we are looking forward to hearing from you on how you are applying SOF guidance to your projects. The community is also a platform where you can discuss any topic and share lessons learned. Please go ahead and sign up for the community and take part of it. You can reach the community on AKMS/SOF community. Quick disclaimer, this is the first and December 2016 version of this training. As we are always adding new features to the Skype for Business online service and reiterating SOF assets based on these investments, I'd like to remind you that some of the materials that you see in this training may change in time. If we have some major updates to the existing content, we will be updating the corresponding training material as well. I recommend you to visit SOF website for most recent and up-to-date content. Okay, let's move on to today's topic, meeting room solutions for Skype for Business. Although most of the materials that we have been creating around SOF are to assist you successfully deploy or migrate to Skype for Business online, I'd like to remind you that today's topic is applicable to hybrid or pure on-prem deployments as well. As you can see on the SOF cycle on the right, instead of a single SOF phase, this training is going to cover multi-phase activities on planning, delivering, and operating meeting room devices. The main goal of the materials that we have just released is to assist the project teams in planning conferencing solutions for the meeting rooms in any Skype for Business deployments. We will be covering different endpoints that can be deployed into the meeting rooms by providing an end-to-end process from planning to deployment, validation, and operations. A couple of reminders here. This is not a technical product training. Within this session, I will not talk about all the features of new meeting room solutions. At the same time, Skype Room Systems version 1 with the new name, which you may already know as Lync Room Systems or LRS, is out of scope of both this training and any other SOF materials we have just released. Okay, why do we have such a content dedicated to meeting rooms? It's because for a successful Skype for Business deployment project, the project team should be aware of the differences between the available solutions in terms of scenarios and use cases and support topologies. By following our guidance through SOF, you may easily choose the right solution for each meeting rooms. Reduce the project risks by eliminating complex and unsupported deployment scenarios. You may also reduce the support calls and guarantee success by utilizing ready-to-use deployment and testing guidance. And most important, you can increase the adoption rate of the solution by using the adoption materials that we provide. The risk of not following the guidance provided here is that you might end up with some user experience issues, which I believe is the first and most important indication of a successful project. Within this specific session, it's assumed that you are already familiar with the SOF methodology and the activities. As I said before, this is not a technical training for any of the devices. However, if you need such a technical training, we do provide some great trainings on SOF website. Just go to aka.ms/sa-srsv2 for a great recording about Skype Room Systems version 2. With this interim release of SOF version 2.4, we have updated more than 20 different materials to take meeting rooms into consideration. Here's a list of all the updated documents. Some of these updates are really minor and would be consumed smoothly as you deliver on your engagements. However, some updates that are much more detailed will be covered within the session. You can identify these documents with major updates are marked in bold on the slide. I recommend you for every single engagement to download the most recent materials from SOF websites to make sure that you are not missing any recent update. We have also released 2 new assets that focus mainly on the room systems. These are the endpoint design templates and the device rationalization workshop. Okay, let's have a quick overview of the challenges with the traditional meeting rooms. According to the recent studies, 97.5% of all conference rooms have only projectors or displays and audio speakerphones. However, these peripherals are generally disconnected. People dial in to listen to the audio, but not able to see what's projected. And they cannot see and understand who is talking in the room. Also, the attendees in the room cannot see the video of the people who dialed into the meeting. It's not a first-class meeting experience. Although the remaining of the rooms are equipped with a video, the same studies show that these rooms are used only 2 hours per week in average. The reason behind that, joining a meeting with most of the VTCs is too complex. Generally difficult to schedule or join a meeting, get the audio and video connected, and much more difficult if content sharing is required. For content sharing, most of these solutions require specific plugins to be installed on the presenter's machine. People generally get tired of trying, or even if they succeed, these meetings often start late due to these difficulties. This is where Microsoft's Skype for Business-enabled room systems bring the potential to enhance these rooms at a lower cost than any traditional collaboration systems. By the way, this slide is from the device rationalization workshop, which you are expected to deliver to the project team for customers who will be interested in the meeting room solutions. It's highly probable that even the customer meeting room that you are delivering this workshop will fall into the first category on the left. Make sure that you emphasize these difficulties while you deliver the device rationalization workshop. Let's have a look at how SOF can help you to implement a better meeting room experience. Within SOF, we just released the device rationalization workshop. This initial release of the workshop covers on the meeting room solutions. However, with the upcoming releases, we are planning to include other endpoints and devices as well. During the envisioning phase, Depending on the customer requirements and interest, you should decide whether the meeting rooms will be in your scope or not. If not, you don't need to deliver this workshop. But if the meeting rooms are in scope, and we highly recommend keeping that in scope, your meeting room planning activities should start with delivering this workshop to the project team. This workshop has 6 different sections that you need to go through. As you proceed, each section will refer to some other soft materials that have already been updated for meeting room coverage. As a starting point, you should get an overview of the meeting rooms within the organization. The very first step is to understand the environment and discuss about the various rooms based on the purpose of or the layout of the rooms. Depending on the room type and size, one solution could be a better fit than others, or even with the same solution, you might need to use different audio and video peripherals like speakers and cameras on each room. You need to understand the existing equipment as well, like existing displays or projectors, so that you can try reusing them and keep the cost at a minimum level. And finally, modalities needed. Do you need Skype meeting experience or team collaboration? Do you need touch experience? How will users interact with the room? What existing technologies will persist within the company? Answers to these questions will help you to determine the devices needed and the configurations required with these devices. Before you deliver the workshop, make sure that the discovery questionnaire is ready and information about the existing rooms is already captured by the customer. If not, work with the project team and have the questionnaire ready during the workshop. Within the device rationalization workshop, go through the endpoint section of the discovery questionnaire with the project team and get an overall view of the meeting rooms of the organization. If the project team is interested about Skype-enabled meeting rooms after you deliver the workshop, you need to work with the project team to get the meeting room section in the site questionnaire filled out for a detailed inventory of all the rooms. Next step is to discuss about which device is more suitable for your engagement. The device rationalization workshop covers both Surface Hub and just released Skype Room Systems version 2 in detail, and it provides some detailed information to differentiate these two Skype for Business enabled room solutions. Although both devices are great in supporting Skype for Business meetings, they have different capabilities and they're optimal for different scenarios. The technical and the environmental requirements, and also how you manage and operate those devices are slightly different on each solution. During the delivery of the workshop, you need to discuss about these differences and assist the project team in deciding the right device for each room. Make sure that the decisions about each room are captured within the site questionnaire. Let me explain the reason why we ask you to capture the decisions and the data into the same survey. We are planning to enhance this survey soon to automatically provision and configure the device accounts based on the data you captured into the survey. This slide that you will find in the workshop as well is for you to use to discuss about these two different solutions. During the workshop, spend some time on this slide for a quick comparison between Surface Hub and Skype Room Systems and make sure that the project team understand the differences in detail. During the discussions, highlight these 3 items when making the decision of which device is appropriate for the room. Purpose. Make sure your room supports your intended purpose. If the purpose of the room is to use the whiteboard using touch on the device, then you would probably need a Surface Hub, one node and ink support. Again, this is a differentiator for the Surface Hub. And finally, control of the meeting. Most meeting scenarios have someone as a facilitator who drives the meeting while sitting on the table or desk. If this is the case, then you should go for Skype Room Systems. In addition to these differences, there's one more important aspect of planning, which is the existing topology of Skype for Business and Exchange deployment. Where can you deploy these two conferencing solutions? The main difference is that Skype Room Systems V2 does not support Lync Server 2013. If you really need to implement a room solution for an on-premises deployment of Lync Server 2013, then you can only use Surface Hub or Skype Room Systems version 1. Both Surface Hub and the second version of Skype Room Systems devices require integration with an Exchange server, whether it's hosted on-prem or online. Both devices support Exchange Server 2013 SP1 and above. But the main difference is how these devices integrate with the Exchange. Skype Room Systems devices integrate with Exchange through Exchange Web Services, EWS, for Exchange calendar access, whereas Surface Hub only supports Exchange ActiveSync. I've seen some customers who disable the ActiveSync protocol even on the internal network. Your customer might be in that category as well. So make sure that they understand these requirements around the Exchange and make the right choice. Okay, you've come up with a decision on which device to use. Now it's time to plan for how you can purchase your devices. You have two options for getting a Skype Room Systems device. First, you can purchase a bundle via a device partner. If you go with this option, within this bundle, you will get a Surface Pro 4, which is already loaded with the operating system and a special Skype application, the device dock, audio and video equipment based on the device SKU. You just need to plug this bundled device to your existing display or overhead projector in the room. This option is kind of a turnkey solution. Second option is to build your own device. You can purchase the device dock, a Surface Pro 4, and all the audio and video peripherals and build your own device. This is also specifically appropriate when you want to use your own corporate operating system image, even with the partner bundle option. What you can do is you can just download the Skype Room System application and the configuration files that are used to lock down the device into a kiosk mode and build your own device. You can use the same imaging process with the Surface Pro 4 device that comes with the device bundle. The configuration guides with the link provided on the slide, they provide step-by-step procedures on how you can create a bootable USB with this customized image and how this image can be installed onto an existing Surface Pro 4 device. Quick reminder here, Surface Hub is a Microsoft hardware and it's sold directly by Microsoft. And it runs on a very specific Windows edition called Windows 10 Team Edition, which I will be discussing later. Once you order the devices, now you should get the environment ready for the deployment when the device arrives. Depending on the device decision, you will need to make sure that the rooms are ready for the physical installation. If you are going For the Skype Room Systems, then there's not much you need to consider, but just make sure that the table or desk in the room where you will place the device dock have necessary cablings organized. Power and most importantly, cable network must be available for the device dock, as wireless is not supported. Also, it's quite important that although the hardware supports, we do not support Miracast or any other wireless video transmission protocols with the current version of Skype Room System software. It's on the roadmap, but until that release, you need to connect to the existing display or projector with an either HDMI or DVI cable that supports digital transmission. On the other hand, it's also quite important to organize a facilities team when the devices are delivered, especially if you purchase a Surface Hub device. It cannot be deployed using a single person. For example, 84-inch version of Surface Hub requires 4 people to unpack and deploy on the mountings or to the wall. Again, go through the endpoint design template and discuss and plan for the physical requirements. Next step of the workshop is to discuss the deployment and configuration details. We also updated the deployment checklist to cover the meeting room solutions. Depending on the device, you might need to complete a set of activities and tasks for a successful deployment. During the workshop, go through the deployment checklist and plan for the required steps depending on the environment and the decisions made before. The deployment checklist, it doesn't replace the original deployment and configuration guides provided with these devices. It is instead a consolidated summary of the important activities that you need to keep in mind during the actual deployment. For example, Surface Hub does not support video-based screen sharing yet. Therefore, for the device accounts of Surface Hub, a special conferencing policy must be created and VBSS must be disabled for these accounts. Otherwise, desktop or application sharing will fail. Another great example to this is whether you need to deploy certificate chain to the devices or not. If you are deploying Surface Hub to an on-prem deployment, it is 100% valid statement that you need to deploy certificates. For online deployments, you do not need that process. But if you are deploying Skype Room Systems, again on an on-prem deployment, it really depends on whether these devices will be joined to the Active Directory domain or not. If they will reside in a workgroup, then you need to install certificates so that they can trust the servers running Skype for Business services. Yeah, the deployment checklist would be your best friend during the actual deployment or configuration. One other asset that would be useful during the planning and deployment is the playbook that comes with the site rollout and migration kit. Quick summary for those of you who haven't watched the recorded training about this playbook. It is sort of an end-to-end planning material that focuses on end-user related tasks that you need to complete on each site when deploying Skype for Business. It has a time dimension as well, by recommending you when you should complete each activity in a specific order. You simply duplicate this Excel sheet for each site. Plan for the site-specific actions and their schedules that you need to follow, and update the status as you go through. As you can see, the recommended activities are spread into a recommended timeline. In your planning exercises, go through this playbook and click on each activity to get a detailed description and other applicable materials. While you execute the deployments, Update the status of each single activity so that the site level rollouts can be tracked on the main page. For example, you need to order the devices at least 2 months before the rollout. This means that the device decision for a specific site should have been given already before that. Conference room accounts should be created and configured at least 6 weeks before the actual launch date, so that you have enough time to configure all the devices when they arrive. And complete the required validation tests before it's too late. Next step of the deployment and configuration phase is the validation of the deployed solution. We have updated the soft testing materials and added the meeting room scenarios that you can use to validate your deployment of the Skype Room systems. Just download the latest version of the testing metrics and complete each scenario. Just one example scenario is that the meeting requests that have the room device account either as an attendee or resource, those meeting requests should automatically be accepted by the Exchange mailbox of that room's user account. And any updates or cancellation of a scheduled meeting should be processed automatically as well. In addition to that, depending on the privacy settings, you need to make sure that the meeting subject is either shown or hidden. This is just one example of the 13 different scenarios that you need to complete to make sure that your deployment is great. The final step is how you plan for the maintenance and operation of these devices. A Skype Room System's V2 device is a regular PC, but hardened and configured for a kiosk mode that allows you to run only Skype for Business Room application in that kiosk mode. You can manage and monitor a Skype Room Systems device like any other Windows device. You can use existing platforms and tools like System Center Configuration Manager, Intune, or System Center Operations Manager. But Surface Hub is a special device running a special operating system, Windows 10 Team Edition. It doesn't allow you to run whatever application you have in your inventory. You can only run applications specifically developed for that platform. You can use Microsoft Intune or any other third-party management solution that supports MDM specifications. For Surface Hub, you can also use OMS, Operating Management Suite, for monitoring, but you cannot use System Center Operations Manager with it. The same difference remains with the application updates as well. This slide is covered in detail in the device rationalization workshop, so make sure that the project team understand the pros and cons of each device in terms of management and operations. So in a nutshell, this is how we organize the new release of SOF to cover meeting rooms. Key takeaways of this session that I'd like you to walk away with are structured planning of the meeting rooms within a customer engagement is one of the primers to project success. Device selection must be based on multiple criteria, from the room purpose and size to the methods supported for management and operations. And finally, we will be releasing a new set of end-user adoption materials soon. You can use those materials to keep your users aware of the upcoming new conference room experience. These materials will help your users to adapt the new meeting experience in a much faster pace, and it will help you to reduce support needs as well as optimize return on investment get covered in a shorter amount of time. Okay, resources. All the links to these specific resources about the topic have already been provided within the slide deck and the related SOF materials. About SOF, please use the feedback channels to provide us feedback on how you are applying SOF to your deployments, and please let us know any other content that you'd like to see in the upcoming releases. Also, we encourage you to sign up for and participate in the SOF community to get your questions answered and even help others. With that, I'd like to thank you for your interest and time watching this presentation.